Hi Year 11 and welcome to your lesson on misleading graphs or exercise 5.07. This lesson we're going to be looking at how misleading graphs can sometimes be used to give you a false impression. So this graph just over here is a little bit misleading, and we're going to look at the same graph but without those misleading components too. And we're going to use this to answer question 1. So there's some reasons how graphs can be made misleading. So you may not be doing this on purpose, but it's some things to just be aware of when you are making graphs in your assessment. So we're going to be using that previous one, and then we're going to be answering it for both graphs. So I'm going to go G1, G2. So graph 1's my first one, this is graph 2. And I'm going to just go green, Octus, and system 2, because I don't want to write out the whole name. So let's start with graph 2 because it's here and it's easy. So when I look at this, I'd say it's like 31 cents. This one I'd say is like maybe 32 cents. And this one here I'd say is like 31 cents. So this graph can be a little bit hard to read because our scale is jumping up in lots of 10. So we're kind of just estimating where it's going to be sitting. If we go back here, this one is 31.5. So we weren't too far out on that one. This one's 33. And our final one here is 32.5. So that's part A done. How much cheaper is the call on the green plan than the system 2 plan? So again, I'm kind of just going to divide my question into both. So we're going to see which one's how much cheaper. So system 2 is more expensive. So we're going to do system 2 minus green, which is going to be 32.5 minus 31.5, which is going to equal 1. Based off of graph 2, we're going to do the same thing. So I said 31 minus 31 equals 0. So I was saying they're the same price based off of this graph. Part C. Let's cross these off as we go. This graph shows the same information as the misleading graph. In which graph does the cost of a call on the green plan look much cheaper than the cost on the other plan? So when we look at this, and we can tell by the numbers I got, they all look pretty similar. But if we look back at this looks like a huge difference in cost compared to our other plans. So I'm going to write first graph. Or if you've labeled them like I have, you might want to write G1. I should probably go back and label that as G1. Write a sentence to describe how the scales on the vertical axes are different on the two graphs. So I'm not going to write this out, I'm just going to talk through it. With our second graph, our vertical axis or our y-axis is going up in lots of 10 cents. So it's nice and regular. It does make it a little hard when they're so close together to determine the prices, like the issue we had in part A. When we look at this one, it's going up in the same step every time, but it's half a cent. Now, a good thing about this, it makes it really easy for us to see the difference in prices. But it does make this one, even though compared to this one here, it is only 1.5 cents cheaper, it makes it look like it's much cheaper. E, which company do you think produced the misleading graph? Give a reason for your answer. So it depends. So I can see misleading components for both of them, but as long as you give your reason, that's okay. I could say this one's misleading because, like, say if Octus made it, it makes them look like they're pretty much the same price as everyone else. And that would be by using these really big scales. And it just makes it harder to see the differences. But in this case, if say Green produced this, they make theirs look like it's a lot cheaper than the other plans. So sometimes graphs aren't made to be misleading, but they can be. So when you're making your graph, make sure it's correct and that it's presenting the information in a way that makes it, one, easy to read, and that it's fair and not exaggerating anything. All right, that's it for this. Let me know if you've got any questions.